Hello everybody and welcome back to Syracuse Aviation. Make sure before you get started that you guys like the video down below and subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out. I would appreciate it a lot. Helps me make these videos for you guys. Would really appreciate that. So today we're going to be looking at these two Gemini jets, Delta 757-200s by Gemini Jets. We're going to be doing a comparison here. So the first thing that comes to mind for me is that these two aircraft are, obviously it's the same thing, but the one on the left is released in 2007 and the one on the right is 2024. So 17 years apart for these two models, and it's just crazy that a model released in 2007, that's a long time for these die-cast aircraft, but you're still going to be seeing these flying to this day and for the next few years. Before Delta ends up retiring them, but they've still got a lot of life left in them, which is really nice. And then obviously the 2024 release. Now these two aircraft are very, very similar, which again, for 17 years apart, you'd think that there would be a lot of differences. There's a few key differences and details that have been added, but overall it's the same mold for the most part. Very, very similar structure, very similar aircraft. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is comparing these two aircraft and looking at the key differences or even the similarities between the two. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start up front at the nose today. So these are pretty close. They're very, very similar. Maybe the 2024 release is a little bit more pointy, but Gemini's always done really well on these 757 molds, which is really nice to see because it's one of my favorite aircraft. So for them to get it right most of the time, I really appreciate. But these are very similar, as you can see. It's very hard to notice a difference. Maybe the cockpit windows in the 2007 release on the left is just a little bit more drastic or more contrast, easier to see, I guess. But they're very close. It's a very subtle difference. Pretty hard to notice that. The nose gear, obviously one big feature that Gemini's implemented over the last probably decade at this point, or pretty close, is rolling gears. So I think in most cases it makes them look more accurate. The gears are smaller, and you see some more details with the hubcaps there. You can see that little nub sticking out. You can see some, what do you call those, cotter pins or whatever, kind of that whole shaft area. On the 2007 release, it's just a lot more clunky, limited detail. The nose gear door is a little bit more inaccurate. It's a little bit too tall. From a distance, again, it looks pretty similar, but when you get up close, they're actually quite different. So that's the nose. Again, very, very similar. Pretty much with these two planes, you'll notice they're the same exact plane with mostly the same mold. It's just the 2024 release has some updated features, which are a little bit more detailed. It's not necessarily that one's more accurate than the other, because they're so similar. The engines are the same. The Pratt & Whitney 2037s, I believe. Maybe it's the 47. I don't know. Let's see. 2037. I'm assuming it's the same on both of them. The wings are on the 2007 release. They're a little bit different with the colors that's used. These are both Gen 2, by the way, as you can see with the overwing exits. Where do I want to move to next? What's interesting, you would think that, you might remember Gemini's been implementing the two-piece wing molds as of late. So I wonder if I have a good example somewhere around here. So as we can see on this American A321, you look on the underside and there's no crack there where the front and the back of the wings are. But you look on the 7.5 and you actually do have that, which Gemini's been moving away from this as of late, but they've kept it on the 757. I don't mind it too much because most of my planes are always sitting just like this and you can't really notice it from here. I almost prefer it because the wings tend to be a lot more level, although they have fixed it on the A321 and A320 family as of late. But on the 737s, the wings are so flexed because of that. But on the 7.5s, they're not so bad because they have that the cradle mold, and it's a lot more sturdy too. These tend to come broken a lot less. I've only had one ever, and it came from eBay, so I think it was just a fluke. But that's something that Gemini's been moving away from, and they've kept it on the 7.5. So it's very interesting. I'm wondering if, well, really, JC, I'm wondering if they're ever going to move away from that on the 7.5. It'd be interesting to see that for sure. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the main gears. It's a very similar story to the nose gears. They're just a little bit more clunky looking. It's the same overall shape and general idea. Just the main gears on the new one are a little bit more accurate because they are able to roll, and they just have some more, you know, nitty-gritty, tiny details in there. You can see again, there's the hubcaps, which only really appear on the inside. This one's got it on the outside, but over here they're just kind of flat. You can tell they kind of tried there in the glare, but it just didn't come out enough. Not a huge deal to me. But this one also has a Delta underbelly. This one does not, just because that was part of the livery change that Delta made, along with the shade of blue, I think is a little bit different. But yeah, well, I was going to say it's hard to find a lot of differences. There is one other difference. You'll notice the 2007 release doesn't have any aerials or any protrusions on the aircraft, and the newer one has antenna and SATCOM dome there. So really nice details. You can see they actually outlined the SATCOM dome on this one. They just put the little gray shape there. This one they've actually gone ahead and put a piece on, which is really nice. So I'm not crazy over aerials, you guys might know. I'll take them, you know, if they're done well and they're intact and everything, I don't mind them. But I have to say, I just love the classic models without any aerials. I really could go either way. I'm not too picky in either regard. So, but aside from that, there's really not a whole lot else. Again, the molds are very similar. It's just that the new one's been updated a lot. The general shape and structure of the mold is almost identical, which is crazy for 17 years difference that these two planes are as close as they are, just with the addition of aerials and rolling gears. It's really cool to see that. So there's really nothing else to go over. Even the boxes are pretty similar. This one's just a little bit more of a special, so they did a different box type for this, and the interface has changed a little bit. So that'll do it for today's comparison. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought. If you have either of these planes, let me know what you think of them. If you have any other Delta planes, I have a bunch of 7.5s in the back there, plus a few from NG and another Gemini as well. So you're gonna know what your guys' thoughts are, so go ahead and comment below. Again, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Really would appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.